Alright, so let's talk about Bonesaws. So this is one of the 3 mini-bosses that you have to defeat in the Star Cathedral in order to destroy one of the 4 generators in the Star Cathedral. So this boss, first of all, this mini-boss has armor on it, as you can see. My Soidal here doesn't have armor pierce, but it's not so bad because it only has about 50% armor, it seems. So for this fight on my wildfire, I did a solo, so you can just check the description. I'm linking a video of the full solo. It's about 9 minutes. This fight in a group usually takes like a minute or so with a big group. There's also a video of Roku soloing it on a Duskwing, and he took a little less time. It's a little easier on the Duskwing, it seems, because you could just hop on the head, on the top of the head, and take no damage, and just whip the head with a skein. And you might as well bring a skein with leech on it, so that way you can just leech life from whatever hits you take, if you take any. And for the wildfire, it's best that you come in this fight with plus air blast at least. Imperial boots would be recommended as well, just for that extra safety when you're jumping away from the lasers. And that's one of the things that you need to avoid in this fight as much as possible. The lasers do the most damage, around 25 to my wildfire. And then you have the spiky... the rolling spikes on the floor, those deal about 10. And then you have the bottom of the head, or the bullets, they deal the least amount of damage. So if you're in a pinch and you're like in between lasers that are being targeted at you, you might as well jump into the head or something to take less damage if you can't dodge it. Obviously, you'd be coming here in a group your first few times. One thing I wouldn't recommend really is to come here and trying to solo this on an ironclad. It's pretty brutal, even when you're in a group. What I recommend you have is volatile gliders. That's right, not boosters or overloaded boost. Floating in the air is actually more important in this fight specifically because of the lasers. They last a little long. It's not like bullets coming at you and disappearing right away. No, these lasers are unblockable, of course. You can block the small red bullets, and you can't block the spiky balls on the floor either. But those lasers last a couple of seconds, so you might as well just float above them if you jump over them. So that's one thing I'd recommend if you're an ironclad. And of course, the Fabricator has it really good. You got platforms coming with simultaneous +1 on your macrons, and with volatile gliders could help out. Not really necessary for the Fabricator as much as on the ironclad, but whatever. So that's that. Besides that, just be wary. Just, watch your surroundings. Don't try anything crazy. Try to move around a lot. Don't try to be too stationary, because this mini boss targets you where you are. So if you're close to it in a group, it'll most likely target you if you're the closest to it, as well as the lasers. So just move around. Try to play with its targeting system. Try to make it target the air. So do a few fake jumps up in the air so it targets, the empty space above your head, and then just keep hitting it from below. This boss, if you look at the solo video, it has 2 parts. So it's 2 heads. If you attack one of them, the other one won't attack you unless you attack it as well at the same time. So if you're going in here alone, concentrate on one head at a time, obviously. You don't want to deal with the mess of 2 heads attacking you. The way that the fight starts actually is that it'll start only shooting out a couple of bullets, and one laser. But both heads will keep on spitting out those spiky balls throughout the fight. So as you progress, so obviously it's phased, and also there's a crap load of HP on these things. So yeah, that's why it's recommended that you come in a group, obviously, on your first try, so that you're kind of comfortable with it. And if you somehow stumble in this room, I mean, you can home out right away, because as long as you don't hit the heads, they won't attack you intentionally. They'll just spit out those spiky balls, though. So you might as well go on one of those platforms and just home out if you're alone in a Star Cathedral and you hopped into this room by mistake or something like that. But gradually throughout the fight, as you damage it, it'll switch phases and start hitting you with double lasers from one head. So you gotta be wary of that. Like I said, you gotta try and just fake it out a bit. Try to target the airspace above you or below you, however you want to deal with that. But it's not that complicated, to be honest. As long as you stay clear of the lasers, you don't touch them, do as few mistakes as you can, you'll be okay. This is actually one of I think it's the hardest fight in the Star Cathedral out of all the mini bosses. The other two are pretty easy, much easier, I think, than this one. And one last thing, so towards the end of my solo on my wildfire, you'll notice that I have defeated the boss, this mini boss, but the second head has still active lasers. So watch out for that. Just make sure it's dead completely. The animation of it looks different of when it's, of when the head is dead, but the lasers are not. So it seems like there's a separate HP pool assigned to the lasers, the attached little squares to the heads. So yeah, well, watch out for that. Oh, and one last trick. So as for weapons, obviously on the wildfire, you'd want the longest range in the game for this fight, which is the Soidal, obviously. Then you got the Duskwing, like I said before, coming with a skein with Leech on it. And on the Fabricator, doesn't really matter, Gavat would definitely be the best choice. But for the Ironclad, it's actually funny because, as I said before, on the Duskwing, you can just hop on the head and whip it. So if you come in on an Ironclad, try to have like a Bacillus. If you can aim it properly, you can land the Bacillus on the head, on each head, and it'll just stay there and it'll constantly do damage on it. So that's pretty cool. So you could just, throw that, block for the group, do a little teamwork. But that's pretty much it. Or you could just, go ham on it with a regular powerful hammer if you want, if you don't care about blocking too much or being fancy with the Bacillus. Alright, so that wraps it up. See you in the next episode.